All righty. It's you and me, Diane. We're here.
Yay.
Ready to work on your wonderful things and excitement. So did you decide, out of all the things you told me about, did you decide which one you want to work on first?
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to work on the follow-up first.
Okay. So couple questions for you. And this is follow-up for customers, for reps, for who?
I guess for customers and prospects.
Okay. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing right now?
As far as what?
Following up.
Initially, I do a lot on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people reach out to me, express an interest in my product, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
I take them into Facebook, into Messenger. I'll send them a third-party tool, follow up with them in a day or two, follow up with them a day or two later. And sometimes I hear from them, sometimes I don't hear from them.
Which is normal.
Right. And then I just, go ahead.
You're using Messenger.
I'm using Messenger. Okay. Primarily Messenger.
How are you remembering who to follow up with when and what to say? So and there's no wrong answer, right answer. I just want to get a vibe of where you are. So don't hesitate to say, I don't know, because sometimes for me, the answer is, I don't know, I got no system.
And sometimes for me, and I don't have so it depends. If I get their information and it goes through my back office, I could click on, a little icon that will tell me, anybody who I've sent a video to, anybody who requested a sample, anybody who I requested information, and I'll follow, and I use that. However, very often it's just on Messenger. They don't give me any information, and I'll, post a third-party tool right through Messenger. And then I kind of just go back, and it's very haphazard.
Okay. Let me give you some tips.
Yeah.
Does your system from your company allow you to manually enter additional people? Or do they have to have come through the site, or can you manually enter them back there?
No, I can manually enter them.
Okay. And does it allow you to set a follow-up date and take notes on the people?
It does.
Okay. I would recommend you use it. That's what's called a CRM, Customer Relationship Manager. And I would recommend that you take everybody and put them in the CRM. Now, does that automatically start sending them stuff or no? If you put them in there? Okay, perfect. That's what we want. This is what I do. I'll be truthful, I do have a very good memory, and I happen to remember, and I see people and I just touch on them and love on them all over the place. But anybody that you want to keep track of, whether they're a prospect or whether they're an actual person that started on the product, etc., I put them in your system. I take notes on them. Okay. And the notes might be like, for example, with you, lives on Long Island, school teacher, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Some notes. I know something about the kids, or I know something about they're really into their pets, or they ride horses, or anything I know about them, I take some notes. And then what I do is I set a follow-up date to touch them again. And depending on where they are, if they're just somebody I met, maybe that means I'm just going to go to their Facebook wall and check out what they're up to, like, comment, and say hi. If there's somebody who's expressed interest in the product but didn't get it, then I'm looking for a reason to touch base with them again. Like maybe you just came out with something new, or maybe there's a special. I'm looking for a reason to bring it up again. And, or if there's somebody who's on the product, I want to make sure I'm fastidiously keeping track of, their progress and when their potential reorder date is, etc. And, or if I want to introduce them to the business opportunity. So I'm going to rely on a tool to tell me every day, like when you get home from school, you sit down at your tool and let your tool tell you who gets followed up on today, as opposed to trying to remember it all. I use my phone, and I also have a CRM. I have to admit, I don't use my CRM. In fact, I was just going to do a training because I'm trying to commit to using my CRM better, because I tend to do it just in my phone. because my phone is what I use. Don't worry about it being messenger based. In the past, maybe it was email based or you'd pick up the phone. It's no problem that it's messenger based. And a lot of my contacts, I don't even have their phone number. I just put messenger. But what we do want to do is not rely on remembering everything and putting it into some type of system so that on any given day I sit down and I know who do I need to follow up on, who do I need to touch and love on, who do I need to, check and see how their usage is, etc. You also, up to you, but you might, I don't like anything that's too static or too scripted. I think you know that about me. But you might want to have a, first touch, this is what I do. Second touch, this is what I do. Third touch, this is what I do. Type of setup that you maybe set yourself up a little notebook and remind yourself. First, like I have practice for people who, join different things with me, where I go through and I follow up in certain ways. I also, and I'm going to be just truthful, I'm moving at such a volume that I don't worry tons about, like, a lot of times in a company, they'll teach you have to be perfect with follow-up. If somebody loves the product, if the product's good, generally it's not as big of an issue. If somebody doesn't love the product, it's not as big an issue. I'm not as worried about that. I'm more worried about people and my connection with them than I am about a process of like, well, what did you like best about the product? How did you feel about this? And or doing some type of static relationship building. A lot of training out there. Like, I don't know have you ever heard of FORM, family, occupation, recreation, message?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's great and it's wonderful, but I watch people and they're like, so do you have kids? They're very robotic about it. And I just want to be more connected with people. I want to get to know them, mostly because I don't think of my business as this week or this month. I think of it in terms of years and people I build relationships with today. I just had somebody just the other day bought something for me. I've known them for probably 15 years. They just happened to see a picture. They came around. I keep in touch with everybody. So follow-up is a state of mind as much as it is a mechanical doing. Does that make sense? A lot of people treat people as disposable. Okay. A lot of people treat people as disposable. You didn't buy? Okay. You're not responding? Okay. You didn't watch my video? You're out. You watch people all the time. I'm deleting everybody, like on Facebook. If you haven't engaged, if you haven't I don't treat it that way at all. I treat everybody as a neighbor. So if I'm walking around my neighborhood and I see Sally and Sally has a new dog, I might see Sally a bunch with the new puppy, and then Sally breaks her hip and she doesn't come outside for a while. I may not see Sally. Then Sally will come out, or I'll run into Sally's daughter and she'll say, oh, my mom broke her hip. And then I'll be like, oh my gosh. And I'll call to see if I could stop in and say hi or bring her a cake or something. I treat the internet like a neighborhood. I mean, you're from Long Island. You know what I mean about a neighborhood.
I do know what you mean. Mm-hmm.
So if you go out and you walk your dog, you see some neighbors some days, others you don't. Some neighbors you hardly see. They're still your neighbor. You don't go, I'm crossing your house off of the list, because they're still your neighbor. Some people are super friendly and want to chat. Other people don't. Other people are like, what does she want? What does she want? That's the nature of a neighborhood. And all I'm looking to do is know who are all the people in the neighborhood. And you'll find the longer you're in business, you'll have a customer, they'll drop off the face of the earth. They won't respond to any of your follow-up. And 2.5 years later, they'll show up and they'll go, I just got married and I'm pregnant and I want to work from home. How did that happen? Where did they come from? It was because you had a relationship with them when they were around. Remember the old song, Love the One You're With? That's the way I treat it. If somebody's around, I reach out, I touch, I love, I check in. If you're here, you're here. If you're not, there's tons of other people. So that's my philosophy after many years of watching people rip their hair out with follow-up. When you approach with love, you take some notes and you genuinely care about what's going on. Like, I know you live in New York. The first thing I said when I saw you was, are you cold? What's up? You know, it's cold here, but it's not like frigid cold. I know where you're from. I know something about your area. I try to know something about every area. I try to know something about different cultures. I want people to feel at home with me. And to me, that is more important than just a scripted follow-up. So it's a philosophy, not a thing to do. But you do need to have somewhere to keep track that pops up every day and tells you who should you check in on. And if you're just using Messenger, you have to keep scrolling and trying to find the messages, where if your system tells you follow up with Johnny today, you just go into your Messenger and search their name and it pulls it up, the last conversation.
My problem is that, well, it's not my problem, but I do everything on my phone as well. I rarely ever use my computer. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it's just all on my phone. And so I used to actually physically sit, you know, at the counter every night and go through all of my messages, and then take out my planner and, you know, kind of like count the days for follow-up and, you know, count again when I'm going to, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with using a hard calendar. Like, you know, if you know you need to follow up in 7 days, putting them on your calendar. There's a date book that I particularly love called Planner Pads that actually has spaces for that type of stuff, or there's other ones that are for marketing that are designed for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't have a place with some notes on the person, you're still going to be challenged. So if that's the case, then take most planners have an address book section, old school. Go in there and put some notes on each person in there, then put their name, their phone number. You don't have to have their address. If you have their phone number, or put Messenger and put some notes there, so that way when you see it's time to follow up on Sally, you can flip to Sally's name and see something. I'm old enough to be kind of old school. I like paper. I do use a computer most of the time for eyes. I'm stubborn. I don't want to wear my glasses. I do a lot, though, laying in bed or in the recliner with my phone. So if that's the case, you use your contacts in your phone and you use Google Calendar to set the follow-ups.
That's a good idea.
Which is easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, when they pop up on your phone, and or you can look at any given day, like today. Oops. Of course, if I could learn to use my phone, it'd be great. You know, like on calendar today, I have my daughters in Atlanta. The wake up call's at 11. I have Antonia Thompson at 2. I have Diane at 5:30. Sabrina at 7. You know, I have it all in here. And then I could go into my contacts and read about any particular person if I didn't remember who I was connecting with. I also could schedule myself reminders. These are actual appointments, but I could set myself a reminder to follow up on someone. So I personally like, if your company has a system, that might be the thing to use.
We do.
You know, it's there, they've paid for it. You know, like I work with My Lead System Pro, we have a beautiful CRM. A lot of companies have good ones, a lot of companies have bad ones. But those are good because then you just pull up the report every day. And then you still can work from your phone, but that little report or Google Calendar in your address book, but you got to keep notes on people. Because once you work in any kind of volume, unless you happen to have a great memory, that's the stuff, the little touches that make people feel really special. And the feeling is more important than anything.
So segue question.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people, initially I don't know them. They don't know anything about me other than a product that they're interested in at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm a red personality, and I get right to the point. And I know that it's really important to build relationships and, trust. And how do you suggest I do that with, basically cold, turning my cold warm? Like, so I do convert some people to my friend, as friends, but then others I don't. It's very random. There's no rhyme or reason. If I look at their Facebook profile and I like what I see, I'll friend request them. Sometimes they friend request me. But how do you instantly, build your rapport? Because most people, most people who are online, they're like me. They're red. They want to get right to,
Which is fine because they're responding to something about a product.
Right.
The question is, are you retailing to recruit? Or are you just retailing to retail?
I'm retailing to recruit.
Okay. So if you're retailing to recruit, then you have to talk to the person to find out what their hot buttons are in order to find out whether, they might be interested in the home business, et cetera. But if they're asking about the product, and I'm sending them a video about the product, what I like to do is I look at their Facebook profile and find out something about them. And what I'm looking for is what we can agree upon. Like when you and I first met, we both know Long Island. We both know New York. So there was something we had in common. We're both teachers. So I'm looking for the thing we have in common, because then when I say something to you like, well, what department do you teach in? I'm using an academic terminology. Remember, we had this conversation. It was like, well, what do you teach and what do you do? And, how old are the kids, or what population are you working with? Those things make us kindred and they connect us right away. So I'm looking for something that we can agree upon, whether it's we both have teenage daughters, whether it's that we like dogs, whether it's that we both, like I see pictures of a cruise. I like cruising. I'm looking for that thing. And this is kind of esoteric, but it's so powerful. When I talk to somebody about that thing, most people would be like, so I see you like cruising, I'll be like, you were on the horizon. What port, what itinerary did you go on? I just go right into something that's much more down the road. I've never been on Carnival. I like Norwegian. What do you think of Carnival? So I don't go, I see you like cruising. Where do you like to go? Because that's trying a little too hard. I don't say, how's the weather down in New York today, Diane? I say, are you freezing? It was snowing here today, because I'm not that far. I enter more familiar. And we could go to anybody's Facebook profile and I could show you, you could bring up anybody and I could show you, I'm looking for the thing that we have in common.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I'm going to go right to here's the product information, and then I'll bring that up, or I'll say that. I'll be like, for example, I grew up in New York and SUNY schools, right? There's a lot of SUNY schools. I went to SUNY Albany. I see somebody that went to Plattsburgh, right? And I'm like, oh man, we had a lot of fun up in Plattsburgh back in the day. What years did you go? So they're kind of like, oh, wait, you know what Plattsburgh is? Because it takes them aback a little bit, but it's familiar. So it's not scary. Oh man, I had a couple of fun Halloweens at Oneonta, So only people from the SUNY system, and it's because I see they went there, would know what I'm talking about.
Stony Brook.
Yeah. So I've been on Stony Brook campus a million times. So listen, it was there. It was local. It was convenient. Come on,
I lived on campus. There was no
like I could say to somebody, Oswego, like, oh my God, Oswego, remember you had to hang on a rope so you didn't blow away. So that makes me familiar. And when something's familiar, it's safe. Follow where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking it's rare that I find someone that I can't find something to agree upon, something that makes us familiar or kindred. You know, you meet someone from Jersey and you're like, what exit? Only people that know Jersey would know to say what exit. If you're from the West Coast, you wouldn't know to say that. Only people from the West Coast know that you call the highways there the 5, the 15, we don't do that, right? Except for BLIE. So it's becoming a little bit familiar with all these different cultures to have some fun with it. And that makes people want to talk to you. It also makes people go check you out because they're kind of like, this person's interesting. And don't be afraid to have fun. Like, I'm not a football fan, but let's say I was, and I'm a Steelers fan, and you like the Saints were just in the playoffs or whatever, the wild card, and they lost. I don't know, but I have friends that live in Louisiana and we're at the Saints game. So I might say something like, let's say I were a whatever fan. I might say like, anybody but the Cowboys. I'm sorry the Saints lost, but at least the Cowboys aren't in, or the Patriots or whatever, if I knew anything about football, which I don't, which is why I don't play in things I don't know. I'm just trying to think of anything else like that. If you were in the yeah, you got it. That's what makes people instantly resonate with folks like me. And it's not fake, be clear. It's not fake. I'm not doing it to be fake. I'm not trying to maneuver someone because I talk about Stony Brook. It's because it's a taste of home. It's because I'm familiar with it.
That makes sense.
Makes sense. So I'm looking to connect with them on a level outside of just business. Most people are just really trying too hard to convince them that their product's good or to do that awkward fake. So do you have kids, or talking about fine lines and wrinkles. People don't sit around and talk about fine lines and wrinkles. People sit around and go, oh my God, I look like I'm 150 this morning. I got to do something. When we talk like real women, when I go in, I'm a very regular customer at one particular boutique that sells all kinds of makeup and skincare and all kinds of stuff. And the girls all know me. So I'll walk in and one morning I'm all fresh and beautiful and whatever. And another morning you could tell I was up late last night. I'll walk in and they're like, you look like death. And I'm like, fix me, put something on my face. I look like a Baghdad old lady. That's why we talk. I don't walk in and go, I'm very concerned about my fine lines and wrinkles. When we talk like real people, makes a big difference. So follow-up and connection is really more of a state of mind than it is a practice. We tend to look for a 1, 2, 3 practice, but you manage a classroom. New teacher comes in, the new teacher wants the secrets to manage the classroom. After you have a little experience, that one little boy is going to do this. And on the first day, every kid and what they're going to be like. Because you've been around the block. You know what I'm saying? The new teacher or the student teacher read a textbook and the textbook told them that when Johnny does this, you talk to him this way. And it's adorable when they're trying to correct the kid. That Johnny needs a firm hand and he needs to be talked to a certain way. That Sally needs this. That this one needs this from experience. It's like a parent that read, what to expect when you're expecting.
Yeah, expect that you won't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we can't script humans. What we can do is use some guidelines and also schedule that follow-up so that we're always touching people. And I'm constantly doing that. I'm just kind of looking, who haven't I touched base with lately? Who haven't I said hi to lately? Who haven't I loved on their content lately, etc.
How often do you follow up? I know that I don't want to chase, and I know that you don't believe in chasing either, but how often and how long do you follow up for? I know some people say follow up until the person's dead.
So again, I'm dealing with such large numbers because I've gained leverage through some of the different techniques that I teach with, list building and stuff, that I don't think of it that way, because every time I write my list, I have people responding. Right. So I'm really more interested in who's tuned into what I'm doing right now. And or if somebody was really hot and they fell off the face of the earth, I'm going to follow up with them if we really connected. But otherwise, every time I post, I've built a big audience on Facebook. I've built an audience on Instagram. I've built an audience on my list, etc. I'm always focused on building the audience and communicating with the audience and seeing who raises their hand. I'm not so much interested in going after individuals. So it's a different philosophy. If I were starting over again, I would build the audience. So for example, I see your posts in some of the groups and things, and people are reaching out to you to ask you about the product. I might consider having a group, a Facebook group, or a newsletter. And the first thing I say to somebody is, awesome, I'm so glad you asked. I have a great Facebook group with a lot of tips. Would you like me to put you in that? And I'd get that permission first before I'd give them the video about the product. Or I have a great newsletter about terrific skincare regimens. I'd love to send it to you. Would you like that? And they say, yes, great, let me get your email. And then I put them in the list and I go, okay, I'm going to send you over a video. And the video explains XYZ. So now I've captured them. That allows me to continue to follow up with them over and over and over again without bugging them.
Well, that's the thing. Who wants to bug people? Yeah.
And what happens is in my letters, I'm always saying, hey, hit reply and let me know. Like, we just came out with a new product. I have 10 samples. If you wanted one, hit reply and let me know. I'll get one out to you. Or I'm doing a video tonight on 10 tips on, winter skin. I live in New York and it is cold here. My skin gets really dry. I'm doing a little training tonight on 10 ways to hydrate your skin. If you want to come, here's the link. So I'm constantly getting them to respond to me or raise their hand to me. So that's the secret. I'm an attraction marketer. I'm pulling them towards me by basically what I call dropping bait. I put them all in a little pool of little fishies, and then I drop bait. Who wants to come to learn about winter skin? If you live in Florida, you don't have winter skin. You don't care. If you live in New York, Connecticut, Maine, Wisconsin, you get dry. Or whatever it may be, anti-aging, Botox alternatives, whatever it may be. You guys have all these hooky words and things.
But then what you would I know that, it's not best to reveal my company name. Mm-hmm. Would you do that through,
well, once they come, like if I sent out an email, like for example, tomorrow night, I am doing an overview for something I sell. I haven't mentioned it. I'm just saying in the letter, I'll say, hey, tonight at 8, I'm doing an overview of the products I've used to blankety blank blank. If you want to come, here's the link, register, we'll get together at 8. I will send that letter out to however many people are on the list, and 22 will show up.
Right.
And 22 of them are actually interested in the thing. And then during that presentation, of course, I'll mention the name of the company. But that's not on Facebook. That's
on a separate platform.
Well, it's on the webinar or on the report or whatever I give them. I'm not afraid. I'm not embarrassed to tell anybody what company I represent.
Right. I just don't
want the company that I represent to be the issue.
Right. Right.
Or define you. Yeah, to define me and or to send people Googling, because if they start Googling, they're going to end up buying from somebody other than me, and I want them with me.
Right. I understand that.
So I wouldn't publish or put pictures of my products on Facebook, but I would mention it in my emails because the person's giving me permission to hear about what I sell. So I'm always collecting people. I'm always collecting and capturing their identity, getting their permission to market to them. Just like, I mean, if you were to look at your phone right now, I promise you, you have emails and texts from stores that you gave permission to market to you, to tell you what's on sale this week or right now. I'm just opening my email. I haven't looked at it. I have an email from Ray Higdon, who I've given permission to market to me. I have an email from ShopRite, the supermarket.
I just got the same one.
Yeah, see? I have one from Lens Crafters because I got my glasses there. I have one from John and Nadia Melton, who I've given permission to market to me. Hotwire, which is a discounted hotel service. And I could sit here and go through, but AMC Theaters, because I have a membership with them. So it's all these places I've given permission to send me information about what's going on in their store or what they're offering this week. You do it. I do. I mean, both of us. ShopRite tells us every week what's on sale. We're not offended, right? We're not like, that damn ShopRite trying to sell me eggs again. I want to know what's on sale. If I'm interested in skincare or there's something up with my face or something that I'm concerned about, I want to know. So that's the key. And I just do it just like every other big store. Think about it. When you go in stores, they always say, would you give me your phone number for coupons? Or would you like to be, would you like us to send you email offers? That's all it is.
So I've been thinking about getting an autoresponder or an email, something like that. The people who gave me their information because they were interested in my products, would I automatically put them on it, or would I just?
You can, and then a first email would go out saying, we've been in contact in the past. I have a newsletter. You can set it up so that they click to confirm that they'd like to receive from you. Just be prepared that the bulk of the people won't confirm.
Right.
Or a lot of people like to use Facebook groups, which is the same thing. I like a list. I'm old school. A lot of people like Facebook groups because they start a Facebook group and the people get permission, and you can put all kinds of information about, before and after pictures and interviews with people who have had great results, etc. My team has one. We're always putting stories and stuff, but I like a list. Again, I'm old, the kids all like, but I don't mean old. I mean old in the industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the kids in the industry, they like the Facebook groups, maybe because they're easier, quicker. I like full control. I can't fully control a Facebook group, but I mean, you look at John and Nadia or Rank Makers, Ray's group. I mean, it's tremendous, and he's built an empire around it. John and Nadia built empires. Jesse Lee's built empires with Facebook groups. So is there something to be said for a Facebook group? Sure. You just have to remember you have to love on the people and feed them something valuable, something, and when I say valuable, people get so wigged out. People want tips. They want to know, what are you doing? How did you wash your face today? And don't always make it about your product, because it could be other things that you could be doing to help protect yourself from, I don't know, like my mother used to teach me to put Vaseline on your feet and put on socks, and you wake up in the morning and your feet are smooth. I'm making that up. I don't know what you could teach her or whatever. It also could be, you could offer recipes on things that are really good for your skin, or things about water, that's good for your skin. There's so many different things you can offer, but the main thing is results. People want to see pictures, and they want to see real stuff,
And you think a Facebook group as opposed to a Facebook page?
Group. Yeah, group. A page. See, a group is where people can interact. A page, not so much. You also can do a group with your team or with your customers. So, and some of them are really cheesy. I mean, like some of them, they're so funny. Like somebody will post something and everybody will be like, oh my God, that's incredible. They're all like reps.
I know.
Yeah. So, I like to make it a little more real, but, we have pictures, or we write articles, or we do, interviews with somebody, especially when people are skeptical. I love interviewing somebody who was like, absolutely not, this product's stupid. And then they have really good results because maybe they needed a tweak or maybe they needed this. I love that stuff. So the groups are very popular. In a group, you need to post at least once a day. And then as you have more contributors, if everybody starts posting once a day, you have a lot going on. I love to, with skincare, having pictures week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, not just the, before and then the end result, but showing the progress type of stuff. And I'm a realist, so I like to talk about sometimes when people change regimens, they break out before it gets better. Or we have people that detox, they get on a product and they don't feel good. It's because there's so much crap inside of them. It has to come out before they can feel better and lose weight. I talk about it. A lot of people gloss it over. I'm a New Yorker. I just talk about it. If the traffic's really bad on the LIE, take the Northern State. It's just the truth. There's an accident over here. Don't go that way. Get on the Sac Coast, go down to the Southern State, cut across to get to the belt. It's the way we talk. We don't make believe that it's always rosy and the traffic's always good. It's not.
Right.
It's not,
Now, I was told that unless you have a very big team, you should not have a Facebook group.
I think it depends on you. Do you feel like you have enough personality and energy to carry one off? See,
so I
have
a Facebook group. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If you have a team that everybody's contributing and it doesn't feel like crickety, you know what I mean? Think of it like a nightclub, right? Let's say we went down to the Jersey Shore or something. We're going along the strip and we're looking, deciding where we want to hang out tonight. It's Saturday night. If you walk in one place and there's nobody in there and there's no action, you may get a drink, but everybody goes, this is boring, let's go. You go to the next one. You're looking for the place where there's a band and there's a lot of fun, because that's what people do. So if somebody comes in a Facebook group and there's no interaction, there's nothing, then it's boring. So you have to either be able to engage people or have what I call ringers. Go get a couple girlfriends and your sister and somebody else and tell them, you have to help support me with this. You don't have to buy nothing. I don't care. I need you in there interacting. And or even if you have a team of 3 or 4, you still could do an effective group. But you have to be committed to it, because if you fill it and you don't talk to it, it dies. Same with an email list. A lot of people that go out and they'll go get 100 people to be on their email list, they don't write the list because they go, well, there's not enough people. Well, only one person reads the letter at a time. They don't know how many people there are. And in a Facebook group, they can see how many people are there, but if there's some interaction and engagement, sometimes you can even go sideline and team up and do them.
I know that my team, we do have one, so it's like a team effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You can add people to that, but again, you don't have control of it. Right. So as a novice, I encourage people to utilize the groups that the uplines have put together, et cetera, because it's effective and everybody's working together. As a pro, I want you to have full control. So you have to decide where you are. Maybe you need to get your team up to 15, 20 people, and then you go spin off. That depends on you. Okay. I started a newsletter right away. I have no problem with starting a group. I'll go out and collect a bunch of people. I just started a group. I got 600 people, in a short period of time, because I just go out and get them, and then I engage people. But I'm talking about everything under the sun, not just what I want to sell. And that's the difference, where I'm not so focused on buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. I'm focused on the wellness of the person. If we're talking skin, let's talk skin. Let's talk about the science of skin. Let's talk about the stuff that's in our food. Let's talk about, hydration. Let's talk about, so it's much more well-rounded than just a lot of these groups that are just, here's my product, buy it. Here's my product, buy it. It's interesting, you know? And so think about a magazine. If the magazine only had ads, you wouldn't read it, would you? There has to be content in the magazine. And if you really read a magazine, a lot of the content is really disguised sales copy. You know, if you read Oprah's magazine, all that stuff about the things she loves, guess what? That's product placement. Those companies, you know, ponied up to get her to say that. But it looks like an article. You think that the clothes that they photograph her in were picked by accident? It's all orchestrated. And that's really what you are. Yes. And when you have a group, that's really what you're doing, is you're becoming a publisher. You think about who's my reader or who's my person. What are all the things they're interested in? And it's okay if it's a topic, like you could have a fitness magazine. So it's all the things about fitness, but they don't only talk about Nike sneakers that they want to sell. They talk about cramps and muscle definition and sunscreen and anything that a runner or a fitness person would need.
So I do have a group. It's a gratitude group, and I have almost 500 members in it. Yeah. And I'm very, very proud of it. And I have a lot of interaction. I do a lot of gratitude challenges. And, you know, I have one right now, and I have about anywhere between 20 to 35 people daily who are commenting and sharing and posting. And awesome. It's amazing. It's just amazing that I could help change someone and make them see the abundance that they have in their life. How can I use that? So to see if anybody would be interested in what I have to offer.
Easy.
Okay.
And you might want to write this down. And it's a concept that I teach people, and it comes easier to people from the Northeast than it does to other places. Be matter of fact. And what I mean by that is, if you're doing a gratitude challenge or you're doing a gratitude thing, you say, you're like, I am in so much gratitude for this group. It changes my life every day to watch the things that are changing for you. I would so love if any of you guys are interested in taking a look at the things that I'm working on. I'd love to show you. If you have something that you're working on, I'd love to take a look at it. Just be matter of fact. Don't hide what you do or feel sheepish about it. You're not selling, but you're not hiding it. And we get weird, like, you don't hide that you're a teacher. Like when you meet people, you're not like, when they say, what do? You don't go, well, I'm a somethingpreneur from the something, you know, all these weird things that we do in this industry. It's, you know, it's very simple. I sell a skincare line that I fell in love with, and people have great results with it. Very matter of fact. So when you're in the group, indicating, okay, guys, I have to run. I have a webinar now with my team. It makes people go, oh, what's your team about? Okay, guys, I have to run. It's snowing here and I need to whatever. It's part of who you are. It's what you do. Don't hide it. And don't be afraid to express gratitude for your customers, for example, or express gratitude for your colleagues that helped you with solve a problem today or whatever. Things that make people go, well, what does she do? What does she do? That's interesting. I'm interested in that. I had a very prominent marketer say to me years ago, he said, you're the most interesting character on the internet. I go, really? Why is that? He goes, you're never selling and you're always selling. He goes, and it's freakish to watch you. And I go, well, what do you mean? He goes, I never once see you solicit anybody, ask anyone to buy anything. And yet you are constantly inviting people to environments where they can buy from you. And it's because, on matter of fact, I don't think everybody's a prospect. I think that everybody knows someone for me, and I want to have a relationship with everybody, so they send them my way. And that's that matter of fact thing. What do you do? Oh, I'm an online marketer. What do you market? Oh gosh, all kinds of things. I don't like, they're waiting for me to lunge at them and I never do. And what happens is they tend to hunt me down and they check out all my social. I have people everywhere. I have 2 girls right now. I happen to go to one of the casino resorts up here a lot. And 2 girls figured out what I do. 2 girls that work there, 3 of them actually now. And they're all over my stuff. And they just started reaching out to me saying, hey, I want to find out about what you do. How do I get involved with that? Never once solicited them. But I'm very matter of fact that I work for myself. I work from home. I can come and go as I want. And they're hunting me down. So in your group, be comfortable with indicating what you do without trying to sell anything.
That's the fine line that I have difficulty with, because although that is my goal, I don't ever want to feel like I'm getting someone, because that's just not, I think that that's gross when people say that. And at the same time, I do believe in what I do, and I do think it could benefit people. And so what is that fine line between?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think teaching benefits people? You're a teacher.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think I'm supposed to be in your class?
What do you mean? You?
Me. Yeah.
No.
You think I'm supposed to? Why not?
Because you speak English.
Yeah, I speak English and I'm an adult, right?
Right.
So, okay. So I probably don't belong in your class. Now, is it possible that I know someone that belongs in your class? And I know it's based on towns and things like that, but let's say you were an independent ESL teacher. Okay. Is it possible that I know people that need to learn English? I know gazillions of them because I happen to be bilingual. I know tons of people that are in this country that want to learn English. I know people that are in other countries that want to learn it via Zoom or whatever. I know tons of people. Like, let's say you did it on the side. Okay. I don't need to learn English. I know tons of people that do need to learn English. And by the way, I told you I used to be an ESL teacher. Right. So when we talk about being an ESL teacher, and let's say you did it on your own, per diem, you did it yourself, you wouldn't think I was your prospect, but you wouldn't have a problem with telling me I'm an ESL teacher, I teach from home via the internet. You wouldn't feel sheepish about that because it wouldn't be weird. When we get into the industry, we start to get weird, right? We start to get weird. We start to worry that we're bothering people. And the reason why we worry about that is because we are. Okay. If I just tell people I'm a teacher and I work, I have a home business and I sell skincare, people go, oh, really? What line is it? It's natural and normal for them to ask. If you said, I work at a school by day and in the evenings I teach English on the internet, and I said, oh, can you work with people from any country? That would be a normal question. You'd be like, yeah, I could any language, not a problem. Well, what if they don't speak any English at all? You'd be like, I can work with them. Or you'd be like, no, they need to have some fundamental, whatever the answer is, right? It wouldn't be weird. You wouldn't be like, well, let me show you how I can teach them English and 7 easy steps and this weirdness. Right. Because you wouldn't be selling, you'd be actually trying to help somebody learn English. Right. So in this case, I'm a teacher, and in the evening, I have a part-time business where I sell, skincare. Really? What kind of skincare is it? I have very sensitive skin. Oh, well, what type of reactions have you had before? See, if you become more clinical, not clinical, that's not the right word. What's the right word?
Problem solving?
Yes, as opposed to selling, then somebody goes, well, what are you using right now? I'm using Clinique, making that up. Well, how's that working out for you? Well, it's okay, but I'm still having some outbreaks. Okay, how do you feel about the price point of that line? It's not bad. I don't mind it. It's not bad at all. Okay, well, great. I have a line that could do this, this, and this, and I'd love to show you how it works. And we have a package you could take a look at, and it has a money-back guarantee. Try it for 30 days. I don't know what your pitch is, but try it for 30 days and see if it makes a difference. It's not much more expensive than what you're already using. Oh, wow, I'd love to do that. That wasn't weird. It's when we get weird. It's when we get weird. It's because we're trying too hard. There's people everywhere looking for the types of products you sell. It's just that when we think we're doing something weird because we're trying to convince, we see some lady. I love when people, they see someone that has bad skin or somebody who's fat or whatever, and they feel like they need to save them. They don't want to be saved. They like
maybe they like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, maybe they don't like it, but they don't want to do anything about it. The woman who does not have that issue is much more likely to be concerned and interested in buying higher end skincare than the woman who's, got pus all over her face. Sorry to be cursed, like me. I'm 52 years old, going to be 53. I got some lines, I got this and that, but I'm a pretty natural kind of girl, I'm not a Botoxy kind of girl. Now, I know I have other friends that they don't have a single, there are no lines. They are perfect. And you could tell that they do something. That's their bag. If you sold Botox, who's more likely to buy from you? The one who's really into fillers and that stuff, or me? You could sit here and try to convince me to stick needles in my face all day. Ain't going to work. I don't want needles. Okay, I don't like them. Somebody else is like, do whatever you need to do as long as I look young. Right? One person doesn't want to learn English. Doesn't make them bad or good. They work at a place where they don't need to really learn English. They shop where they don't really need to learn English, etc. And by the way, I lived in another country, so if anybody watches this at a later date and thinks I'm being racist, I'm not, because I've lived overseas. Same thing. I mean, if I could speak English all day where I was, I would have. Trust me, I would have, but I couldn't. I had to learn. Another person gets here and they're ambitious. They want to get their career back. They have to get English because they have to take some classes to get their certification to get back into their professional capacity. Very motivated. Who's going to buy English classes faster?
Them.
The guy who sits around and goes, I should learn English, or the guy who says, I have to learn English. Same with home business owners. I'm casting my net because I'm looking for somebody who needs to get out of their job because they're going to die. I needed to get out of my job where I was going to die. Another person wants to get out of their job. One person needs to fix their skin. Another person is like, they use whatever from CVS. Who is a better candidate? So I'm just very matter of fact with people because I'm sorting. I'm looking for people that are looking for me. I'm not trying to sell. I'll always be a slower build. People will watch me. I'll always be a slower build. And in the end, I'll always out earn everybody because I'm patient and I'm looking for the right people. Because when you have the right person, you don't have to convince them to put it on their face, do you? You don't have to convince them to reorder, do you? No. Same thing with a rep. You don't have to convince them to hold their rank or to place their auto ship or whatever. If I have to beg someone to place their auto ship, if I have to beg you to study your English textbook, you're not motivated. And if I'm teaching it in school because I have to, then I'm going to teach it. But if I'm teaching it part-time, I want somebody who's motivated. If I just want the money from the lesson, I'm going to sell it, right? I'll sell skincare to people all day long. I don't care if they put it on or not. But if I'm trying to change the world one face at a time, then I need to care. So it's just a matter of philosophy. So I hope some of this made sense, and it's recorded so you can watch it again. A lot of what I teach, Diane, is philosophical versus do this, do this, do this, because it comes down to the core of our belief system. Convincing puts us on a hamster wheel. Putting people in environments and nurturing them and loving them puts us in an environment of joy and referrals. So same thing with follow-up. I want to touch on people and check in on them. I don't want them to feel like, oh God, she's calling. She wants me to order something. I want them to feel like, oh, it's Diane. Let me pick up. Or, oh, it's Diane. I want them to feel like I'm noticing their media. I want them to feel like I care about their daughter's recital. You'd be surprised at how many kids I know when their recital was and junk like that. I want them to know I remember when their baby was born and now their kid is 5. I want them to know I care. And I do. I do. And as I get closer to people, I care more. Obviously, I become close with certain people, but I care about everybody and everybody finding what they want. And for some people, your company is exactly what they want. We have to make sure they know who you are. You're a good lady, and you're smart and capable and all this other stuff. You just need a way to corral them and keep talking to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got this stuff pretty much down. Well,
Yeah,
still working on it, but
you're changed though, which we won't talk about here. But
yeah.
I noticed it before. I noticed it on your social.
Yeah,
it's tremendous. I'm thrilled.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
Told you so.
Yeah.
And that sounded snotty, but
no, not at all. Yeah, you did.
So come back and look at some of these other philosophies that we talked about today, and we can revisit them again. But it's a shift. But the shift is profound. The shift is profound. One customer that sticks with you is so much more valuable than a bunch of customers that come and go that you're chasing every month. One rep that's fastidious that wants to do this is more valuable than a dozen reps that buy and quit. And when you start to really value your energy, and you work full time, and you're dealing with young people all day and everything else, and you have a family and a husband and all this stuff, when you start to really value your time and become more interested in sorting than selling, which is it's counterintuitive, because we think I have to sell, I have to make rank, I have to do this, I have to do that. And I'm the opposite, luckily, because my mentor just really impressed it upon me. There's more time, there's more joy, it's more fun. And in the end, there's much more money. There's much more money. I don't do hamster wheel. I did when I was originally in the industry for 5 years. But I noticed right away there were hamster wheel people and there were lifestyle people. I'm a lifestyle person. I'd rather make $500 and enjoy the lifestyle than $50,000 and be tethered and never be able to do anything. Now, obviously you parlay that up and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. But I watch people that make millions that are miserable. And I watch people that make 10 grand a month and they're happy as, because it replaces their income and they're free. And I don't know what you're after and what you want, but think about, what do you really want? It's not money. It's never what we really want. The money solves the issue.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah, totally. Totally get that.
I hope you stay warm.
Thank you.
I'm menopausal, so I'm hot, cold, sweater, take it off, open the window. Ray laughs at me because I'm like, wait a minute, I got to open the window. Wait a minute, I got to close the window. He goes, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm 52. Leave me alone.
Oh, I totally relate. I layer, and then I strip as I'm teaching, and I'm down to like a tank top with my head out the window. So yeah, I get
and
it.
people are like, and I have products and everything else for it, but it's just what it is. So
yeah,
you just live through it. It's all good.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
You're gonna just get old. That's what we're gonna do. So
grateful that I can get old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully those are things. And now you can follow up with me, send me messages. If you have a question over the next couple of weeks, or you're working on something, you want me to take a quick look at it, absolutely 100%. And in the meantime, I'm setting up a new Facebook group for that other thing that you're a part of. And you can ask me anything you want in there anytime. So if somebody had purchased a one-on-one, they would get some follow-up. You, in your case, you have unlimited follow-up. You have unlimited whatever you need. So,
okay, I did want to talk to you about that because I haven't done it in a while.
We can set up a separate appointment for that next week.
Okay.
And then the other thing too is the CRM in there is really good. I was forgetting. I wasn't thinking. The CRM in My Lead System Pro is excellent. It allows you to tag and it allows you to do all kinds of things. So you can decide if you want to use that CRM. I keep promising myself I'm going to get better about it. So maybe we'll do it together.
Yeah. A little workout partner.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's I like to database people, and I just haven't used that tool as well. And it's a very good tool. In fact, it's comparable to some of the best ones out there. So that's it.
All right.
All right. I'm going to run off because I have another one coming
All
up in
right.
a little bit. All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night. You're very welcome.
Thanks.
And I'll let you know as soon as I set up that group. It'll be next week, probably.
Sounds
Okay?
good. Okay.
All right. See you later,
Thanks.
Di.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.